In the deep recesses of one's mind, there is a voice, a guiding light through the darkness, a connection to the other side.
You're ready to wake up, you're going to wake up. And if you're not ready, you're going to stay pretending that you're just a poor little me.
A pathway to spiritual that echoes with enlightenment. The voice of spirit.
The voice of spirit.
You are a function of this total galaxy, bounded by the Milky Way, and that furthermore, this galaxy is a function of all other galaxies.
Your journey starts here and now. With your host and connection to spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Hi, a very, very warm welcome. And as I usually say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to the show. I'd like to mention my book Summerland and also my book, A Book of Thoughts, which you can get on Amazon. And if you would like to donate, then you can go to the archive page, find the show and click and donate. It doesn't matter what you want to donate, whether it's $1 or it's more. It's all very welcome. And it makes you feel that you're part of the show. So if you want to do that, it's all gratefully accepted. Tonight, there's just me. Hopefully that's not a disappointment. And I wanted to talk about the variations of mediumship from Marcello Bacci, Coral Polge, friend, of course, a favourite of mine, and some of the other psychic painters, Jose Madrado, Luis Gasparetto, and different people. So we're going to be talking about those kind of things. If you want to call in for a reading or just ask questions or want to share some of your experiences, whatever it may be, you can get us on 702-425-9230, and you can get us on Skype in the studio, and you can also get us on Skype in the chat room in the studio, and you can also get us in the chat room on Facebook, and you can of course get us on Twitter. So if it's something that you're interested in, or you've got friends, give them a call, get them to tune in. I went to a fantastic place, a retreat called the Parsonage Side Retreat. And it's www.parsonageSideRetreat. That's PRS. No, it's not. It's PARSONAGE side or retreat, all one word, .webs, WEBS.com. So if you want to give them a look over, I can thoroughly recommend it. I've been to a few places before. But I can honestly say there's Dawn and her husband Stephen, Stephen's brother John, and Ladrin, their son. Wonderful, wonderful people. A really, truly spiritual, friendly place. I've never been to something like that with that kind of feeling. And also met some wonderful new friends, Jill and Michelle and Mari and so many others. So if I've left some of the 18 out, I do apologise for that. They have some great people in, and I went to see someone I'd interviewed before here, Kai Muga, a physical medium. So I'd like to talk a little bit about what we experienced there, and it won't be too long. I think it's the 30th. Could be wrong. My brain isn't working when I'm getting inspired. It doesn't work in a normal sense. But we're going to do another interview with Kai Muga. And also Ladrin from the retreat. So first of all, Kai Muga, it was a brilliant physical mediumship demonstration. And I know this may sound rather hard to believe amongst all the other wonderful things that happened. At the end, Hans, Kai's spirit guide, said that he wanted to give or send us healing and light, and he, well, even though it was a circle, he divided us up into sort of three little sections, and I was totally blown away because, as he said, I give you healing and light. Very much like Star Wars, like those kind of things you've seen. He opened his hands and there were bright, bright flashes of light that were, I suppose we could say, aimed at us. So if you've seen those kind of programs where energy balls are fired at people and things, this of course was energy in the form of healing and light. That is something I have not witnessed before. It was very, very impressive. And the other things that were impressive there, if you've not witnessed this, and I haven't witnessed this before, I've been to probably this would be my 9th or 10th physical mediumship attendance. He also produced gemstones from the eyes, through the nose, and the ears as well. If it's something that you would be interested in, if you don't think that's weird, and obviously it's not an everyday experience, but if you would want to experience that, I would certainly go to Kai Muga's site. You can also find him on Facebook, and you can also find the Parsonage on Facebook, and look at what they've got on, where they are, and it's well worth seeing Kai, and it's well worth visiting the Parsonage side retreat if you're in the country. Although, having said that, they attract people from as far away as Australia who come just for demonstrations. It's an impressive place. As you know, that I've talked quite often about organisations and spiritual organisations, and I do teach my students this as well. You know, they think they're coming into something which ostensibly should be very, very spiritual, and unfortunately, it's the last place you sometimes find anything spiritual. There are lots of egos, there's lots of conflicts, there's me, and not friendly at all. And the love and friendliness that was at this place, I have to say, strangers, we felt like friends within minutes. Wonderful place, and it's nice to find something that's genuine like that. It does make the experience, of course, but I think it also helps when you're having demonstrations and workshops there, that there is that much love encompassed within the building. So once again, can't sing their praises high enough. So it's www.parsonage, PARSONAGE, side with a capital letter, retreat with a capital letter, parsonage side, all one word, .webs, WEBS.com. Find them on Facebook, find Kai on Facebook as well. So I suppose there's a relatively very small portion of the population that's witnessed anything physical as far as demonstrations are concerned. We know sometimes that we do have experience of physical things. I was blessed when I was young to have hands materialize, a trumpet materialize from spirit that whirled around and unfortunately hit me in the head at one point. So that kind of didn't improve matters. But if you have not been to a physical demonstration, lots of people have experienced physical phenomena. So if you like, if we try and paint the picture of physical phenomena, but in a very controlled situation. So if you've been had some physical phenomena that wasn't too pleasant, it's nothing like that. It's very controlled, and of course it is full of light and love, and that's how these demonstrations work. So if you're interested, it's a wonderful way to see spirit in a very, very real sense. So the demonstration that Kai did was absolutely brilliant. He gave a talk for about an hour and a half beforehand. I know that it's inspired, but I also know that Kai has a lot of knowledge, and he was talking about some of the history of spiritualism. And to be quite frank, he brought up things that I didn't know existed. It's kind of a hidden history. And Kai's German, and he was talking about the Nazi connections with, the darker side of this and Himmler and that kind of thing. But what I hadn't realised, as well as people of certain faiths, people that weren't fully able-bodied, they also targeted mediums, anything psychics, anything remotely like that. And so there was a huge purge during the Second World War of anyone with any talents in that direction. Books, whatever video film may have been filmed, everything was destroyed. And there was a real concerted effort to wipe that part out so that there would, whatever knowledge would be on the darker side and would, of course, be held by the upper echelons. As I've said many times, I learn something every day, and it was so interesting to hear what Kai was talking about, but also so very sad that spiritual progression and spiritual experiences were literally wiped off the country of Germany. And so that was also part of the plan. And if we think about if the war had gone another way, how much that could have affected. We know that Lord Field Marshal Dowding was a medium. He was also in charge, and credit is now given to him having won the Battle of Britain. And he was, of course, a spiritualist. There were other spiritualists within the government, and I know from my own research that Winston Churchill had sat with Helen Duncan, and we all know the story about Helen Duncan, and she was the second from last person to be tried under the Witchcraft Act. The government had been after her for years. They did see an advantage when I think the HMS Hood went down, sunk by the Bismarck, and a lady that was at a seance that night, her son came through, and bless her, she was so excited that he'd come through and told a few people, and literally only the upper echelons knew that the Hood had been sunk. So they got very, very concerned. They knew that it came through a Helen Duncan seance, and used that opportunity to, I suppose, in effect, destroy her and try and destroy her reputation. There's a whole story there, and we may. I'm good friends with Margaret, who is Helen Duncan's granddaughter, and I've tried to get her on the show, but I'll still keep trying. Bless her. And she can tell us some of the ins and outs of the trial, and that there were intelligence officers that were giving evidence. There was all kinds of stuff in the background. One of the important facts of that was that Helen offered to do a seance in court, and that was because she was being accused of witchcraft and fakery and fraud, you name it, any dirt at all, they were throwing at her. So she quite bravely offered to do a full seance, physical seance within the court. That was refused. You can easily understand why that would happen. And one of the reasons, of course, is if perfect and unbelievable truth was given in a legal case, not only would it change legal history, it would have changed spiritual history, and that was not going to be allowed to say it quite plainly, the trial was a stitch-up. They could not in any way allow spiritualism to come to the fore. It's only been in the last 2, maybe 3 years that Lord Dowding has been credited with saving Britain during the Battle of Britain. He was also a medium. He also helped not only our airmen, but the German airmen that passed away and got trapped, and so he helped them. So there's the history of spiritualism on whatever level you want to look is absolutely fascinating. It is generally contested that modern spiritualism started with the Fox sisters. It was a very important move. I would say a revival. You have people like Swedenborg in the, I think it was the 1600s. I stand to be corrected if that's wrong, who wrote many wonderful books. And if you're interested and have ever heard of, although I've mentioned him several times, Allan Kardec, there is a film on Netflix, certainly in the UK at the moment, called Kardec. It's based on a true story of Allan Kardec, who's basically a codifier for spiritualism. He wrote the Medium's book, the Spirits book, and other books as well, which at that time there was great force against him to stop what he was doing. They tried to ruin him. But the book got out. They even tried to hold it in. This would have been in the 1900s through customs. They tried to when books were being shipped out. Very interesting film. If you want to see that it'll certainly enlighten you. It does say in the film that it's based on a true story. It is definitely a true story. So if you want to expand some of your knowledge, then that is certainly a great film to watch. There's a lot of information there, and one of the things that I was quite startled at with that film was it started off basically with table tipping, and in France, he was born in Lyon. In France at that time, there were cafes opening that were full of people. It was very frivolous and it wasn't the right way to do it, but cafes absolutely full of people trying to get, as they would say, the table talking to them. There were shows where table tipping was the whole subject of the thing, and when you think of that kind of running riot through most parts of France, how the public's imagination was taken up with it. As I say, it was done on a very frivolous thing. And what Kardec found at that point was that obviously it wasn't working. Obviously there's some fraud or fakery in that section, and it couldn't possibly have any interest. And he was guided. As we know that Spirit Guide, he was guided towards the more serious proper table tilting with physical mediums, and from there the story of Allan Kardec continued. His real surname was Duval. He was a teacher at a very high level in university, and when he went to see a physical medium, he was informed by a spirit that came through that they had spent time together as druids many years before, and his name at that point was Allan Kardec. So whilst it's a non-diplome, and he took it up again, if you like, it's a very interesting link. So if you're interested in part of spiritualisms and spirit history, then it's certainly worthwhile. And if you're interested in the books, the Spirits book and the Medium's book, the Spirits book came first, and then the Medium's book came after that. Wonderful history. Also look up Swedenborg. There is so much to learn if you have even the faintest interest in this subject, and you can dig into it on all kinds of levels. Okay, so in the second section of the show, I'm going to be talking a little bit about Marcello Bacci, a gentleman I've mentioned before. I will be talking, of course, about Leslie Flint. I've got a special dispensation, if that's the right word, and contract with the Flint Trust to produce a book about Leslie Flint with some of the recordings. So it's a book of transcriptions. I think and hope, and I know that Spirit will press for this. Once it's printed and it gets out in the general public, I do feel and hope and pray that it is something that will change many people's lives, because whilst there's an autobiography of Leslie Flint, there is nothing like this that's ever been out there before. So I'll be talking about Leslie Flint, one of my favourite subjects. Also about a gentleman called Jose Medrado, who's a trance painter. He channels old masters and impressionists, and over 100 different painters, and they include Van Gogh, Renoir, Da Vinci, Picasso, Monet, Morisset, Rembrandt. So that is another aspect of physical mediumship. So we're talking about him. There's another gentleman, a psychic artist called Luis Gasparetto, and there's a lady that I met, a wonderful, wonderful psychic medium, Coral Polge. And I have some drawings of my guides from her. Wonderful people. So if that's something that you are interested in, want to learn more about, then do tune in, and we'll be going to a break in a short while. So if you want to call in, ask questions, it's 072-425-9230. If you want a reading, of course, we're open to that. If you want to ask any questions on any level about physical mediumship, mental mediumship, I know my guides will help. I don't have a lot of knowledge, but they will certainly inspire. So if you're interested in that. So any questions on anything, whether it's tutoring, circles, whatever you want to do. I will also talk a little bit about a circle that I am tutoring, that they're having wonderful results, and this is in light. So lots to talk about. So once again, if you want to read Summerland, you can find that on Amazon. There's also a book of thoughts, which are thoughts and observations from Spirit. It's kind of poetry, part of it, but if that's your bag, or you're just interested, then you can find those on Amazon. If there's any other subject you want to talk about on anything, then of course do get in touch with us. And once again, you can Skype us, you can get us on Twitter, you can get us in the chat room in the studio, and you can get us in the chat room on Facebook. We'll be straight back after this.
This is the voice of Spirit, your connection to the other side.
To understand something spiritually, you must experience it. And in order to experience it, you have to experience it in your imagination.
Explore with us by calling 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Give us a call now.
Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio.
Everything that now exists was once imagined. Therefore, everything that is going to exist must first be imagined.
Back with your guide to Spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Leo Bonomo.
After these brief words from our sponsors.
Toxins are everywhere, from the air we breathe to the food we eat and the water we drink. In a world where 80,000 known toxins and heavy metals threaten our very existence, how are you going to protect yourself and your loved ones? Introducing Pure Body Extra Strength, the world's first colloidal zeolite that helps trap and remove toxins as well as heavy metals from your body that are messing with your memory, clarity, sleep, and focus. Don't just take our word for it, or the testimonials from our thousands of happy customers. Check out the hundreds of articles and case studies on the National Institute of Health website proving zeolite's powerful ability to remove toxins. For a limited time, listeners to KCOR will receive 10% off their first order. To get started, go to trypurebody.com and enter promo code RADIO10. Again, that's trypurebody.com. Toxic junk is all around us, but now you can take back control of your health and protect yourself by detoxing with Pure Body Extra Strength. You'll be on your way to sleeping better, thinking more clearly, and feeling more energetic. Go to trypurebody.com right now and get started today.
You love them enough to do anything for them.
Mom, I need to be wiped.
Coming.
Including checking nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Monday nights are about to become hauntingly good, as Reverend Sean Whittington possesses the airwaves with Vegas Supernatural. Tune in every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern for Vegas Supernatural, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. There's a war raging between good and evil. The question is, which side are you fighting on? Tune in Monday nights as Reverend Sean Whittington sets the new standard for paranormal radio with some of the most influential personalities in the world today. Vegas Supernatural, hosted by Reverend Sean Whittington, every Monday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The one show even the devil doesn't want you to hear.
Great.
The all-new KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Great.
Make a note of it.
It's great.
We interrupt this program to annoy you and make things generally irritating.
At the end of the day, we turn the lights down in the KCOR studio.
Oh, sweet.
And crank up the hottest club songs from around the world.
This is the future.
The Grind, mixed by Tina Marie, your Vegas vixen of the high desert.
What about the body? What kind of body? Good body. Nice body.
Every night from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Pacific. The best 3 hours of commercial-free music.
New music first.
It's time to stand up and dance your ass off. The Grind, nightly and exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Come on, it's kind of hot.
Welcome back to the Voice of Spirit, your connection to the other side.
There's no accidents in this universe. We all show up here with a purpose. There's an intelligence that is a part of everything and everyone, and all of us are connected to it.
Connect with us on Twitter by using hashtag KCOR. Even better, join us live in our chat room at kcorradio.com. To get a free reading during the show, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Give us a call now.
Worldwide callers, use Skype name KCOR Radio. And now, inspirational clairvoyant medium, psychic, and your connection to the spirit, the host of the Voice of Spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Very, very warm welcome back, and thank you for listening in. We're talking about variations of mediumship, from mental mediumship to physical mediumship, and trance, which is a branch of physical mediumship. So if there's anything that you want to know, if you're developing, if you want clues on how to proceed, what to do, perhaps as importantly, what not to do, then do get in touch. And you can get us on that number. As I say, you can get us on Facebook in the chat room or the chat room at the station. There are so many forms of mediumship, and most people that have just a brief connection with it tend to think it's the similar things. You know, it's ghost hunts, it's tarot, it's mental mediumship or end of peer psychic kinds of thing, and they haven't heard of the many variations. And just like the population of the Earth, there are many variations. And one of them is what's called psychic art or psychic artists. It's a common title to me. It's a little bit of a misnomer. There is a big difference between a psychic and a medium. They both produce the same kinds of results. The same type of information can be gained. Of course, everything is known in spirit, so there can be predictions, etc. So for the layperson, it's very difficult to tell what's psychic and what's mediumship. The only thing you really need to know is a psychic reads energy, and it can be energy in anything or anyone, and that's where the information comes from. And with a medium, it comes direct from spirit. So the two sources have a similar result, but they're very different. And this is one of the reasons that I kind of dislike the phrase psychic artist, because with a true psychic artist, there's the connection from spirit. And spirit will either take over the hand or the arm, sometimes the whole person. And as they take over and have control, as in automatic writing, which is the way that Summerland was written, as I've often told my publisher, I just happened to be there holding the pen. I'm not even sure I was actually holding the pen. I know Spirit were holding it. But it's that kind of thing. So the person shifts their energy, or sometimes completely moves out of their body for the artist, whoever they may be, to move in. So it's a definite physical mediumship thing rather than psychic, and that's where I have a little bit of a problem with psychic artist. I think it should be medium artist or mediumship artist. There was a lovely lady who has now passed to spirit. I was blessed to be at the Spiritual Association of Great Britain at the same time that she was there, Coral Polge. She was married to Tom Johansson, a healer, and she did some wonderful drawings of three of my guides, Fire Tree, Cuthbert, and Jacob. Or Jacob, but Jacob pronounced properly. And they are wonderful. They are all completely different. The features are different, the noses are different, etc. And the reason that I'm making a point of that is because I have seen some so-called psychic artists, and really what they're doing is they've got clairvoyantly the image of the spirit that's come forward, and they try and draw what they see. Real psychic artists, as I say, it's taken over by that person. And Coral Polge was a wonderful psychic artist. You've also got Jose Medrado, and as I said just before the break, he channels the old masters and impressionists, including and certainly not limited to Van Gogh, Renoir, Da Vinci, Picasso, Monet, Morissette, Rembrandt, over 100 different ones. And I know from research that they've had valuers come in from some of the great what's the word I'm looking for? From some of the great houses that holds these paintings, absolute experts on the masters, and have confirmed that these certainly could have been done, because obviously they're new paintings, could have been done by, excuse me, some of those painters that we've that I've mentioned, and of course it's not just in the style of. They've looked at the way the brush strokes have been there, so it's not just a kind of copy, and they've gone into it in depth. and realised that actually there's something else going on. This isn't just somebody who's good at painting. Louis Gasparetto is another psychic artist, and I can't be sure whether it was Jose Madrado or Louis Gasparetto, but if you look them up on YouTube, one of them has a paintbrush in each hand and a paintbrush in each foot. And he has drawn within 40, 50 seconds paintings from the masters. So this is incredibly, incredibly quick in the style of, and 4 different masters and 4 different paintings at the same time. That is something to get your head around. Paintings are beautiful. I've seen some of Jose Madrado's paintings as well. Absolutely beautiful. And it's a great privilege for me to actually go and see him. He's in the UK, certainly over the weekend. I don't know whether he's going anywhere else, but I'm going to go along and watch him work. He does charge and he does auction off the paintings as well, but he doesn't take a penny from it. It all goes to help children. So, again, you have the skeptics cry of it's a fake, they're ripping people off, etc. As is often the case, nothing further from the truth. Really. So I'm looking very much forward to seeing him. If I can, I will try and get him on the show as well, so we can get to talk to him, personally, if you like. So I'm very excited about that, and looking forward to that. So you've got psychic artists, which, as I say, channel the spirits of the great masters. Marcello Bacci, this is another kind of physical mediumship, and again, an amazing story. He discovered a way to have interactive communication with those that have passed over, and this was through the use of an old radio. This was an old valve radios, and soon became very, very well known. He had his own church, and what he would do was basically play with the dial, and a voice would come through addressing one of the people in the audience, whether it was their first time there or not, and the loved ones would speak through that. His fame did spread. Scientists, of course, are always interested in whatever goes on, whether it's a genuine interest in trying to further spiritualism, because there are a lot that agree with this, know it's real, they're familiar with quantum physics, etc., which basically backs up what we do. Some, of course, are trying to say, well, it's obviously faked. And they took him to a Radio Shack. Now, Radio Shack is where outside radio signals cannot penetrate. So they plugged in the radio, the voices came, they unplugged it, the voices came. They took out all the bulbs, the voices came. They stripped the thing, and still the voices were heard, which I guess if you're a skeptic saying, well, obviously there's some kind of circuit in this that works, or there's a battery backup or something like that. When you've stripped the thing and you're still hearing the voices, it does give you something to think about. Marcello Bacci passed over. I think it was this year, but certainly not too long ago. But you can hear recordings, just Google him. It's spelled Bacci, he's Italian, of course, and Bacci means kiss, and it's Bacci. So if you want to Google him and get into that kind or that leaning of physical mediumship, then that's something that's so interesting to do. Hopefully I can enlighten you on some of this. Another very, very well known. I say well known. He's known within spiritualism, but not as widely as he should. He's not known really outside in the general public, and that's a gentleman called Leslie Flint, and he was a direct voice medium. So you don't have to be psychic, you don't have to be clairvoyant or anything. With Leslie's very special gift, and I could say undoubtedly he was the world's finest direct voice medium, certainly the most tested direct voice medium, but I do think actually one of the most tested mediums ever. With his special gift, ectoplasm was extracted, and you don't see the ectoplasm, but it's formed. It's a duplicate of the human voice box, and spirits manipulate that. It's a little bit like a mask. If you can imagine a gas mask with a little voice box, however you would imagine that, at the end of it. So spirit would press their faces into the mask. It does to them feel as though they're suffocating, and they send their thoughts into it, and it resonates just like a normal voice box so that you can hear. And there were over 6,000 different voices that came through. I've got a special contract with Leslie Flint Trust to produce this book. So Leslie, of course, had an autobiography done, wonderful book, but no one's ever done a book about the recordings. So this book that I'm currently finishing, and hopefully maybe by the end of the year, again I think certainly by the beginning of next year, is a verbatim transcript. So if there's a creak of a chair, in one of them there's a dog barking. We know Leslie Flint had a dog, but we don't know whether the dog was in spirit at that time. So if a dog barks, it's kind of descriptive, dog barks, etc. And I'm sure that you'll find that very, very interesting. One of the reasons that it's a very, very different book is transcriptions like these have never been published. The other wonderful thing is that we're going to have the recordings there, so you can hear the actual person talking. There's a whole variety of different people that are there. So I've got a selection which are important to me, some of my favourites. It is the first in a series of books, but there's all kinds of people that are coming through, including Queen Victoria and some famous people, Arthur Conan Doyle. So, as I say, there's nothing that's been done like that. So it should hopefully really get people thinking about not just that kind of mediumship, but hopefully link them in to all different kinds of mediumship rather than just the mental mediums, which we see a lot of today. I've got to say it's fairly extensive. You've got John Edwards and you've got lots of mediums. And again, there's a form which is familiar to the public, but it really is the tip of the iceberg. I don't think you can get better than good, genuine physical mediumship. I'm tutoring or trying to help a group, and I can't tell you too much about them. It's still in the early stages. But what used to happen, sometimes it would take decades. It was quite common to hear of people sitting for 15 years, 10 years, not getting anything. And then suddenly things would start to happen. This group, they're achieving fantastic results. very quickly. We're talking months. So there's a real push from spirit behind it. The other wonderful thing is the traditional seance is done in darkness. Of course, there's all kinds of speculations of fraud, and there's this and there's that. But this very talented group are producing these results in light. And for me personally, that is where I would love to see it go. God bless Kai. He works in the dark. There are some good physical mediums out there that work in the dark. But I really do feel the future of physical mediumship in various states, certainly the where we can see ectoplasm forming. It is light sensitive, but I do feel at some point things will alter. What we have to remember is if we go back within living memory, sorry, we just got a message there from Suzanne. Hi Leo, can everyone sit in a physical circle and what's required? Okay, I'm just going to address that in a second. What's if you go to places like Africa, in broad daylight, spirit would appear, interact with people, walk amongst them. It wasn't something that was rare, either in Africa or in other places. And what I would love to see is that kind of reaction there. As far as people sitting in a physical circle, you generally need a large amount of ectoplasm that can be generated. Ectoplasm is part of the physical body. It is not a substance, if you like, that you can find in the body because it's made in the pancreas. There are several chemicals in the pancreas that are mixed together by spirit to produce that substance. Ectoplasm isn't something that's just talked about in a film. It's a real substance. It has been produced. It has been tested. So you certainly need at least one person that can produce large amounts of this. The rest is drawn from the sitters. And if you want to be a sitter helping the medium, as everything, it's done in love. You know, we don't sit for us at all. Ego needs to be left behind. We are sitting for spirit. So there has to be a genuine love and wanting to help. There has to be a very good connection between the sitters, very harmonic. And again, it can take years. Again, skeptics will say, well, we can fake this, we can do that, we can reproduce it. The point is reproducing it as a fake is one thing. Having the real thing is something different. So an effect is one thing, but having the real thing is something else. So you need to be prepared to sit sometimes for years, and just do it for the love of spirit and wanting something to happen. So it's something that takes a lot of time. Of course, if you're traveling to sit in a physical circle, it takes money as well as time. But most people, I think, could help in sitting with a circle if they have the patience. So hopefully that's answered your question, Suzanne, as to what's required. Lots of patience, no ego, lots of love, and a willingness to sit perhaps for years. I've known of circles. In fact, Leslie Flint's circle was the same. Leslie came from a rather poor background, and the circle was held at what he would have called a posh people's house. And before anything happened, Leslie sat for 10 years. And the reason that he went, believe it or not, was because he got tea and cake. And that's really why he sat. And then it took about 10 years, and he was sitting in the circle that night. And then he kind of came round. He'd gone into trance, didn't realise he'd gone into trance, missed the whole thing, of course. And people were telling him how wonderful it was that something had happened. So Leslie himself, the best physical medium as far as direct voice is concerned, he sat for 10 years enjoying tea and cake. And then it suddenly exploded. So you've got to have patience. It's got to be done for the love of spirit, for wanting to further that, rather than, hey, can make some money out of this. This would be great. It's not going to work. Spirit want to work with the purest people, the purest channels they can. Quite often that doesn't happen. But the purer the channel, if you like it, if you've got, in that sense, a sterile environment, no expectations, and just allowing things to happen, then that would certainly be the way to go. There are many, many physical circles that sit in silence. And what I mean by silence is not known to the outside world. They get marvellous results. They're not doing it for any kind of exposure. They are just doing it, again, for the love of it. So there are many, many physical circles around. One or two we get to hear of, thank God, like Kai's and David Thompson, and there are some others. And we can get to see them, and it's a real privilege to do so. We're just going to go into a break now, and we'll see you straight after this.
You've been listening to Leo Bonomo, the host of The Voice of Spirit, live every Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. For more information on the show, guests, and host of The Voice of Spirit, or to book a private reading, please visit leo-bonomo.com. That's leo-bonomo.com. Your connection to the other side is just a phone call away. The Voice of Spirit.
It is amazing, is it not?
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51. Wait, that doesn't exist. This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.
In the deep recesses of one's mind, there is a voice, a guiding light through the darkness, a connection to the other side.
You're ready to wake up, you're going to wake up. And if you're not ready, you're going to stay pretending that you're just a poor little me.
Pathway to spiritual that echoes with enlightenment. The Voice of Spirit.
The Voice of Spirit.
You are a function of this total galaxy, bounded by the Milky Way, and that furthermore, this galaxy is a function of all other galaxies.
Your journey starts here and now. With your host and connection to spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Hi, very, very warm welcome back. We're talking about variations of mediumship and the different styles of mediumship. And I hope you're finding that interesting. We've had a very interesting question from Eva. And she says, is it dangerous to produce ectoplasm? To produce it, no. It all sort of withdraws back into the body, so in a sense you don't lose anything, and it's not dangerous for spirit to mix it and draw it out of you. When it comes out, it runs out or is drawn out. It can look quite smoky. It can look milky. It can have different forms. It also can have different smells. And one of the smells that's associated with it, pardon the expression, is semen. So it can have that kind of smell. It can have different smells. And it comes out of any orifices. So we're talking the ears, the nose, the throat, the private parts as well. So it's drawn out, and it's drawn out and it forms. So it depends. Sometimes it will just come out of the nose and mouth and the eyes, and will sit around the shoulders, and people can see wonderful faces in it, or heads are produced, and hands, etc. Sometimes where you get full materialization, it will pool on the floor, and what the spirit that's going to appear shapes it in their image, and they can walk around and talk to you. When they materialize, they're quite warm, they're solid, they're not ghost-like in that sense. Where ectoplasm can be dangerous, and this, bless her, Helen Duncan was actually killed by this, because you should not touch ectoplasm. If it wants to touch you, it will ask, but you should never reach out. It's one of the circle rules. You shouldn't reach out for it. You shouldn't touch it. And what can happen is, if you interrupt that, it can cause anything from quite severe discomfort to physical third-degree burns, usually around the abdomen. Bruises will appear. So if there is an interruption, it can have very, very severe consequences. As I say, when Helen Duncan was interrupted because of this wonderful news that come through, and the excuse from the intelligence agencies that, we need to get rid of this woman, there was quite a kickback against spiritualism at that time. So they concocted a story, and what they did was they did the three things you never ever do at a physical seance. They broke in, they turned the light on, which causes severe pain, and one of the intelligence gentlemen grabbed hold of Helen Duncan. She died 14 days after that. So it can have very severe consequences. The reasons that the restrictions are intense, some may say severe, is because you do, of course, get skeptics that try and infiltrate physical seances, and because they are so sure it's fake, they'll wait for an appropriate moment, and they'll stand up, they'll break the circle, they'll try and grab the ectoplasm. And some modern day mediums have had third-degree burns and really, really been affected by it. So to answer your question, Eva, is it dangerous to produce it? The effect of producing it, no, but it has to be under very, very controlled circumstances. And this is why physical seances, where you're going to get materialization or trumpets flying about, whatever the effect might be, they have to be tightly controlled. You can't wear metal. If you have a ring or something like that you can't get off, it has to be taped over, because that will have an effect. You can't wear earrings, any jewelry. You can't wear a metal belt. So there are certain restrictions. It can short out, if you like, and obviously have quite a devastating effect. So to physically have it mixed in your body and drawn out, no, that isn't dangerous. It's really the manner in which it's used. So hopefully that has explained about that. As I was saying just before the break, ectoplasm can be. It has been produced. It has been tested scientifically. There's been all kinds of things that have been done. And again, in physical mediumship, and this happened some time ago, there was a gentleman that came through that had a criminal record. And this is in modern times. And what the experiment that night was, because this is all in the nature of an experiment, they had some hot wax. And the gentleman, the spirit, formed his hand with ectoplasm, placed his fingers and hand into the wax, and obviously withdrew his hand. So what you had was a complete glove, if you like, unbroken. What they did was they obviously needed to take it apart, because you can't pull your hand out of a wax glove without breaking it, but obviously spirit can. And what they did was they tested the fingerprints that were left in the wax, and they found the gentleman's criminal record. If we're talking about evidence, obviously your fingerprints at the scene of a murder, that's a conviction. They've also produced DNA through ectoplasm, which has been tested as well. So it's a very, very real thing. So hopefully that helps and helps you to understand a bit more about this. Again, you can Google stuff. There is a lot of fake stuff out there. There is a lot of fake stuff. It's kind of counter-espionage, if you like. Skeptics and various agencies that don't want you to have not only this information, but also this enlightenment. You know, for them it's quite dangerous that there is life after death, and if there is life after death, what else is it they're not telling us? But I kind of divert there. We've got a regular on the phone, Darcy. Hi, Darcy. How are you?
Hi, Leo. I'm good.
Brilliant. I want to ask a question, but I know the answer's no. It's a rhetorical one. Have you ever sat or experienced physical phenomena?
No, not like in a circle. No, not like what you've talked about. No.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating.
I've heard voices talk to me. I've heard like somebody say my name.
Yeah.
That sort of thing, but I haven't had like somebody not that I know of, like physically touch me or something. No.
Yeah. I think you'd know, because especially if you're alone in a room and a very gentle hand grabs your shoulder or arm, you know, and of course people put it in the scenario of the horror film, like, oh my God, and you jump a mile. But it's not like that, you know, because when you're sitting and you're expecting that, then it's just a very different atmosphere. So it's not that kind of thing. There's really a lot of excitement in, are they going to touch me? You know, there's just that build up, and it's a wonderful thing. Okay, let me just try and link here in here and see.
My family likes to talk more, so.
They do. Did you just hear that? I don't know if you heard that. Something fell, and something was pushed.
Right there?
Yeah. It'll be on the recording. So if anyone's listening, listen to the playback. Spirit just pushed off from the top of the shelf a couple of packages which fell. So hopefully that's on there. They're just making themselves known. Right. Let me just.
Maybe it's Grandma.
I was just about to say that I've got an image of her there. Okay. Nice English word,
I was going to
stroppy.
say, she's done stuff on your shows before. I mean, she turned microphones off and on and that sort of thing.
Yeah, she's very physical in that sense. It's a lovely old English word, stroppy. It just means to be a bit boisterous. Excuse me. And she seems to be in a bit of a boisterous mood tonight because, oh, God, she's giving me upset stomach now as well. Okay, so she's in a bit of a boisterous mood. Would you understand her talking about you needing to move forward and to go forward? And we all like to take it easy. I don't think she's really saying don't take it easy, don't chill at any time. But would you understand her wanting to sort of move you on to get things done? She's just said house to me, so I know she's wanting you to try and make moves forward. I know money's tight. She's explained that to me just now, but she's wanting you to be a little more proactive. Would that make sense to you?
Yes, very much.
Okay, because, well, you know what she's like. She's quite funny. She's saying, here we are, all hanging about, waiting for things to happen, giving you encouragement, and you're sitting on your butt. And she means that in a very nice way. But she's saying, you know, it is pointed at you, but she's not kind of saying you specifically, if you know what I mean. But she's saying, here we are, we put in lots of work, you expect things, you get communication, you get instruction, and then you sit there and are very happy with that. So she's in a bit of a strange mood tonight. But she says, you know, if you push forward and see it happen, there's the dog. Always barks when she's on, doesn't it? Yeah. If you see it in your mind and you want it and create it, then we can help with that. So it's more they're encouraging it to happen rather than them producing the effect of, you know, money or whatever it is you need. So she's been in that kind of mood. Okay, so again, would you understand her saying that something fairly important happened at the start of the week? Would that make sense to you?
Yeah, probably. I've got that friend with the bad health. I'm guessing that's what she's talking about.
I don't think it is, to be honest with you. She said it's not that. No. Let me see.
I'm not sure where she's going then.
Okay, she's written the word work. So would you understand something happening with work? It's like you're being pushed forward. I don't think... I know that you need more work. This is something that she's mentioned. But if I said it's going forward in a way you'd rather not go. So this feels as though there's been a hint into work changing slightly for you. Would that make sense to you?
Oh, yeah, that's probably true.
Okay.
Probably want me to do... yeah, because I think our courier person is going to quit, but I don't necessarily want to move into that position, so...
Right, this is what she's talking about, because what she's mentioning is you need more work, there will be more work, but what you need actually is more work and more money, but it's actually just more sorry, she made me laugh. It's actually just more work rather than a raise.
Yeah.
And this is what she's talking about, is like, well, it's kind of the right direction, but, you know, there's a tiny little bit that's missing, which is the simple bit, the money. So she says that they are trying as hard as they can to get things moving for you. Her exact words are, there will be an influx of money. Hopefully it's lots and lots. Do take that with a pinch of salt. But you're kind of between a rock and a hard place, because yes, you do need money, but you also need money to move, which her exact words are, it's not quite there. So it's that frustrating feeling of it just being out of reach all the time. Would that make sense to you?
Yeah, totally.
And and she says, you know, that needs to be fixed. Where are we going? Would you understand October the 12th as being connected with her? I don't know if it's her passing. I don't think it's a birthday. October the 12th is connected with her. Would that make sense to you?
It might be her passing because her birthday's in May, so.
Right. Because
the 12th is my ex-boyfriend's birthday. I'm not sure about the 12th.
Right.
It must be, I would guess, her passing, or maybe my Uncle Warren. He might have passed then.
It's definitely connected to her. I think what she's trying to do is say to you that there is something eventful that's going to happen on the 12th of October. She showed me a little bag of money, so I think that there is money coming to you on that date. I do feel if it's connected to work, then it's that. But she's just showing me a little bag of money. So something's definitely going to happen there. Have we talked about May next year as far as moving? Have we ever mentioned that?
I think you did say something about the spring. I don't know if it was exactly May, but it might have been somewhere in there.
Yeah, because she's given it to me as a memory of something I must have said. As you know, I never remember. But she's talking about that. It just makes my job extra difficult. You know, they talk about this stuff as though I remember it, and I don't. But I feel as we're going towards May that there's going to be what she calls a real opportunity to make that move.
Oh, good.
There's a place that you're looking for that is close to water. I feel it's a lake more than anything. And she says it's been on the market for a while. Whatever happens, it doesn't seem to move or be sold. Would that make sense to you?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Okay. I do feel it's being kept for you. So whatever's happening with it, I think it's a place that you're meant to have. I know that you've seen the place. Would that make sense to you?
Yes, that would.
Right. Okay. Because she's talking about you having been there, and it's bigger than where you currently are, but more affordable. There seems to have been a really nice feeling for you when you've been there. I don't know what kind of tree it is. Oh God, what's that? It's not maple. It may be an elm tree. There's an elm tree it's quite a slim tree that's near that house. Would that make sense to you as well?
Oh, yeah, that does make sense.
Okay, she's showing that to me, and she's showing that to me as evidence that things are finally going to get moving. So you've not really seen another house, she says, anywhere that you've really kind of taken to. So would that make sense to you as well?
Except there is one here in town I really like, but I really don't know if the people will ever sell it. So it's right down the street from where I live.
Right. I have to be honest, I don't think they ever will do. She says the point about moving is also to get away from that town. Would that make sense to you?
Yes. I've probably been here too long.
Yeah, that's the feeling she's giving me. So I know it's this other house that you've seen. I know it sounds strange to say that things are being held up so it won't get sold. It is waiting for you. So I know that that's going to happen. I know it's been some time, but she says, you know, sometimes these things take a while to organise. So I know that will happen for you. You also need to be in that other place. She says it's not too remote, although I've got it sitting, it's detached. So would that make sense to you as well?
Yes.
Okay. She says there is a need for you to move in there and get settled and enjoy the accommodation because she says that's where you'll find the gentleman that's right for you. So the two things are connected. That needs to happen for everything to go forward.
Wow, that's amazing.
Okay. As you know, if I get food or drink, it's either something you love or you hate. She's showing me a cup of coffee, but she's wagging her finger. If I said you drink too much coffee, would that make sense to you? Or coffee in general?
Probably. I'm not usually a huge coffee drinker, but with my job, yeah, especially on Mondays and Tuesdays, I drink a lot of coffee.
Right, okay, because she's just saying you're drinking a little too much. Fantastic. We've just got a minute or so before we go into a break. Have you got any quick questions, Darcy, at all?
Just is there anybody else there that has anything to say? I know Grandma's always there, but usually there's somebody in the background.
There usually is. She's just folded her arms and stepped forward towards me, so she's kind of blocking everybody else out. But she used to do that, didn't she? She used to barge people out the way. So I think the idea is there may be, but they're not getting through. Take her great love. She's in great form. I'm trying very hard not to laugh. Take her great love, and we'll no doubt speak soon. She says, do keep optimistic. Things are going to change. She said, this is it. In other words, this is your year, but also as we go forward to May, it'll all roll into one. Take her great love, honey. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless. Okay, we've got a minute or two. Eva has said, are there any messages from her husband? So what we're going to do is we're going to let her husband step forward. And we'll do that. And also, Susan said in the movie card, one of the medium notes uses a basket, pencil, and paper to get messages written. That would also be something good for the circle. We'll be back straight after
this. This is the voice of spirit, your connection to the other side.
To understand something spiritually, you must experience it. And in order to experience it, you have to experience it in your imagination.
Explore with us by calling 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Give us a call now.
Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio.
Everything that now exists was once imagined. Therefore, everything that is going to exist must first be imagined.
Back with your guide to spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Leo Bonomo.
After these brief words from our sponsors.
Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific. Jump onto the Celestial Highway and travel at the speed of light into hyperspace. Hyperspace, hosted by Solaris Blue Raven. She navigates you through the cosmic tides of mysticism into the world of covert technology, UFOs, mystical sciences, and the world of unforeseen forces.
You get to really sort of enjoy a bizarre ride.
Listen live Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific, for Hyperspace, the one show that blows the whistle off our government black ops projects. Hyperspace, hosted by Solaris Blue Raven. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Want to take a ride?
Alien Deceptions, a suspenseful sci-fi romance thriller by Tina Marie, featuring the tantalizing Erica Jones and the mysterious Russell Hamilton. An out-of-this-world book of fiction based on years of document facts and files the government does not want you to know about, at least not yet. Alien Deceptions by Tina Marie. Available now at Amazon.com or get a signed copy at TinaMarieEntertainment.com. Get your copy now.
30 seconds and counting.
Broadcasting to you from another planet, beaming you a world of entertainment.
This is the world famous KCOR. Now listen live online at KCORradio.com.
I like everything about this station.
When do I listen? Like 24 hours a day.
It's my favorite station. I just love the music.
It keeps me going at work.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is your captain. I'd like to welcome you on Jackpot Airlines Flight 1610, service to Lost Wages.
They say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, apparently, they need a reality check done Vegas style.
Vegas, 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 Vegas.
Tune in Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, for Reality Check, hosted by Jessica Johns, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Biggest star in the world, bigger than Britney and Christina put together.
If it's happening on the Vegas Strip, you'll know about it here first.
You are a dirty little fun haver.
Join Jessica Johns as she explores and goes behind the scenes of what's hot and what's not. From the best entertainment Vegas has to offer to national celebrity gossip.
That's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Jessica has her finger on the heartbeat of the city, and she's waiting to share it with you. Reality Check, hosted by Jessica Johns. Wednesday, 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern. She does Vegas right.
Yeah, baby.
Welcome back to the Voice of Spirit, your connection to the other side.
There's no accidents in this universe. We all show up here with a purpose. There's an intelligence that is a part of everything and everyone, and all of us are connected to it.
Connect with us on Twitter by using hashtag KCOR. Even better, join us live in our chat room at KCORradio.com. To get a free reading during the show, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Give us a call now.
Worldwide callers, use Skype name KCOR Radio. And now, inspirational clairvoyant medium, psychic, and your connection to the spirit, the host of the Voice of Spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Hi, very warm welcome back. I'm just going to elaborate on something that Susan's mentioned. And in the film Kardec, they've got a basket with some paper in it and a pencil that kind of pokes through and messages are written. And of course, that's another sort of form of physical mediumship. And she asks where would be a good idea to use it in a circle. I would certainly put it in the center of the table. I would experiment with it. I would put it in the center of the table. I would also put it in the cabinet and see whether it can get started like that, because that came as a second thought to me. So I do feel that that is something that would help. You can also use chalk and a black slate, and they will also write on that. But I would experiment center of the table where a lot of the energy is, or in the cabinet where a lot of the energy is. We've got. I will answer you, Eva, in a little while. I'm just going to go over to Nell, who's on the line. Hi, Nell. How are you?
Evening, Leo.
Hiya. How's things?
Been busy. I've been having a clear out tonight. We'll listen to your show.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
I've filled two trash bags full of rubbish.
Well, that sounds like good. It sounds like a clearing almost, doesn't it? Okay, I know that you've... let's do this slightly differently. I know you've got some questions, so fire away, and we'll... William's here, of course.
This month has been one of refunds.
Fantastic. I know when we've spoken, actually, that those were predicted. Not
all, but
not all
some
of them. Yeah. And I know it's because the money's needed. So it's, I think it's a wonderful confirmation, because it's spirit kind of saying, look, we do listen, we are here. Can't always do it, but there you go. So it's wonderful to sort of have that happen to you, and hopefully that encourages other people. So it's not the end of it. It's just said his exact words are, "It's not the end of it, as you well know." So, so there are. He's just written refunds for me. So there are other refunds coming, but he says there's also a debt owed. I think we both know
Right.
what that refers to.
What happened with the PIP? Because I thought it was going to be much more than it was.
Do you know, when I've manifested stuff, and I've manifested lots of stuff, I was explaining to my daughter Daniela one time, because we were talking about manifestation, and I was trying to say to her, well, I've manifested this year, and as I was going through it, there was around 21 things that manifested. Which is fantastic. And the thing is, when you manifest something, there's always a really good twist to it. So whatever you want has a real positive edge. So whatever it might be, it ends up being better in some capacity or another. So it's nice that that is working for you and it's come out better. But
no, you're not getting it, Leo. The PIP came through, but it wasn't as what it was less than I was expecting.
Okay. I do apologise. Right. So I do feel that what William's actually referring to. I know that these amounts that are turning up are still going to continue, and I know that it will work out better than what. I'm sorry, I got slightly distracted. So but it's going to continue, and there's usually a really good twist to it. So yeah, fantastic. Any other questions?
The big one.
That's coming. What are those? There's a story, I can't remember which one it is, and there's I think it's a giant, and he has 7 league boots. In other words, can cover 7 leagues in a step. So I know that there are big steps forward to what you require, and certainly the intention for which you require it. So he's literally shown me an image of you standing in a very windy location, and it's literally you holding onto your hat. So I do feel that really what he's saying is it's coming, it's going to get there. Hold on to your hat. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
I actually wear a hat when I'm outside.
So it's literal in that sense as well. As you know, they don't say anything by coincidence. So fantastic. So I've still got everything crossed for you, honey. It's getting rather painful holding everything crossed, but there you go.
I know, it's like I say, this month it seems to be a sudden uptick in money for me, and it's just a lot of good things happening, and it's just now university's starting and everything else is kicking off. So it's like, oh my God, what am I doing?
And again, I think, in some ways you've waited so long. So I think the extra positive little twist with this is that it's all happening at once. So brilliant.
I can say I am starting university soon as well, so that's a concern.
I wouldn't worry too much about that. I know that you'll get everything done. Where are we going? He's actually taken me forward about a year. The course you're on, that's a year's course. Would that make sense to you?
It's year 1 of a 2-year course.
Right. So I'll tell you what he's doing. He's taken me forward a year, and I think that you'll have enough time to complete that easily. In other words, you won't have to worry too much about other things, because the big one's coming up. We've said before, it's very close. It really feels close.
Is that sounding like I've got to wait a year till the big one happens?
No. It's what he's saying is it's going to happen very soon, and then you'll be able to do the course this year very easily, because you won't have lots of other things to worry about. You won't have finances to worry about. You won't have many things to worry about. So you'll have the free time to do it. So that's really where he's going with that. Fantastic.
One last question.
Yep.
I have. Is Jasmine the right person for me?
I've got a I've got a yes for that. It's almost like a partnership. I mean, you're more in charge, of course, but it's almost like a real partnership there. So
because she's going to be my tutor, so I just want to make sure she's the right person.
Yeah, I've definitely got a tick for that. I'm going to have to let you go. I've got 2 others to do, but bless you for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
God
you.
bless. Bye.
God bless.
Okay, I think we answered Suzanne. So Eva, let me know as we go along, Eva. Right. I've got a gentleman building up with you, Ega. I would say he's slim, not thin. I can see brown hair there. I would say it's a mid-brown, but okay. This is a gentleman that's also got a slim face. There is high cheekbones. Okay. What else? If you can let us know whether that's your husband. I'm just going to have a quick listen to. Right. Would you understand him saying that whilst him being fairly close is comforting to you? Would you understand him saying that there are lots of things that are bothering you? You do feel unsure about the future. He's taken me back 3 or 4 months when there's been what he calls a disruption. It's kind of set you on edge a little bit. And so it's caused uncertainty there. So there are 2 reasons for him coming forward, to try and take away that uncertainty that you feel, but also to let you know that things are going to go okay for you. It's been a bit of a turbulent year. He says you're past the worst of it. And as we go to, where are we going? Would you understand August as being an anniversary of some kind, Eva? Because he's taken me to August. As I'm saying that, he's given me a tick, so I do feel very sure that that's relevant for you. Would you also understand, I've got an image representing him and you, and it's an affectionate thing, just sort of tapping or patting on the head. What you're worried about is not going to appear, is what he said. So I know that there's something that's obviously concerning you, and it's building up, but it's not going to come to completion. He says it will go away. Where are we going? Would you understand the 19th of December as being relevant for you as well? He's written 19th of December. Where are we going? Would you also understand a connection? So this is 2 connections with a similar date. The 19th of December, 1996, because he's written that for me and circled that for me. But it's just for you to know that he is aware of what's going on. It takes quite a lot to trust not to worry about these things, but he doesn't want you to worry about things. He's actually showing me what is that? He's showing me a child's roundabout that you see in parks, and I've got an image representing you sitting on it. He's kind of pushed it very gently, so it's going round. So it's almost like a clock face, if you can imagine, and it's stopping at one part, and it's kind of getting your breath, and then he's pushing it again, and it's going to another direction. He says you will find the direction that you need towards the end of the year, but next year is going to be much better for you. So whatever's happened at the we're looking at March and April of this year as he says not being great. I think he's been diplomatic with that, but next year certainly things are going to even out. He says you will be in a much happier place. Fantastic. With that, it has been a hard year. Sounds like him. Oh yeah, he got the mess. That day he got the message of his cancer. Oh, bless him. And thank you so much for confirming that. So I know that he's wanting you to understand that it has been tough. It hasn't quite tailed off yet, but it will tail off, and it will be a good year for you. So we've still got a few minutes. If you've got a question either that you want to ask, but thank you for confirming that. So again, do you know whether again he would pat you on the head, because he's showing me that image of that. I've got an image of you, Eva, of having it's not blonde. Fair hair. Would that make sense to you? It looks as though it's naturally wavy as well, and he's just showing me that, and he's just gently patting. It's an affectionate thing, but I think how can I put it? He's kind of playfully messing up your hair, but for him it's an affectionate thing, and it hopefully will just bring back fond memories. So again, just let me know about that. But he's definitely around you at this time. From what he's saying, you've been uncharacteristically down. So I know that things generally they pass over you, but they have got to you. He says the last couple of months. So let me know. Hopefully that's all correct as well. So take his great love. If you've got a question, I know he's standing about. Oh, bless. Yeah, Eva says he always touches my hair. I've got a feeling that you may have another question if you want to ask, because he's just standing with his hands on his hips as though to say, I'm not going anywhere. So he's quite prepared to wait, bless him. So if you've got another question that you want to get through, fantastic. He's also showing me hugging you round the waist. The only way that I can put it is it's not. It's slightly rough in a very sweet way, so it's kind of pulling you off your feet a little bit. The feeling he's giving me is that it was a great sign of affection for him. It was something that kind of wound you up a little bit, but it was all in good humour. I'm just going to leave that there. Because there's a question from Suzanne. Just to keep going, Suzanne, keep doing what you're doing. I know over the next couple of months that things are going to move forward for you. Our gentleman is saying that there are lots of things happening. They are unbelievably excited on the other side for those things that are going to come forward and are going to happen. Oh God, for some reason he's shown me a hat, and then you know in the Middle Ages they kind of take the hat off and sweep it around in a bow. He's just done that. He finds that highly amusing. Oh God, it reminds me of a painting. There's just that. Just keep going, honey. Everything's going the right way. Eva's just said, just tell him I love him. He's heard, honey. In an ideal world, we don't need mediums because we can all have that contact. But when you send your thoughts out, they do hear it. They do appreciate it. They do try to answer. And sometimes we just get a knowing that the message has got there, but he does. He's just said, I'm not sure which way to take this, but he's just said, I never told you I love you enough. I know that's not proof, and I do accept that, but he just wants to say that. I do get the feeling that he told you an awful lot of times, but it's just his kind of way. So he's heard you, honey. I know that you have vivid dreams from time to time. Where are we going? He's shown me hearts and valentines. I'm not sure where we're going with that, honey, but I tell you what I think it is. I think he's going to communicate with you, so you're going to have a nice dream tonight. I do get the feeling he's a very affectionate gentleman, highly romantic. I think when you look at him, you wouldn't kind of put him in that category, but he seems to be highly romantic. He's just showing me lots of Valentine's pictures, so it's his way as well of showing you that there's lots of love there. I know he will be in contact tonight, so take his great love. Fantastic. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. We've still got a few minutes to go yet, of course. Hopefully it's food for thought about the different types of mediumship. You know, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of different types of mediumship, different ways in which spirit can express themselves, can manifest themselves. And just if you're interested in this subject, just Google it, see what comes up. Again, as I say, you have to be very aware. There's a lot of skeptics out there that make that they'll make fraudulent videos and kind of say this is what's happened, you know, and then they'll wait a few months till people have swallowed it and think, oh, isn't that wonderful? And then what they'll do is they'll say this is how it's been done, it's been faked, and really it's to shake your faith in the comfort and the love that is to come. To me, that's a very cruel thing to do, to build up people's hopes and then just say, actually, somebody has discovered this and it's fake. It's very destructive. There you go. They'll have to pay for that when they get over. But takes spirit's great love. Know that you're loved very dearly. Know that your loved ones are aware of what's going on in your life. It is a myth that lots of mediums expound, which is, you know, they're always with you. They're not there 24 hours a day. It wouldn't be what we call heaven if they were connected to you in just that way. But take their great love. So someone's just saying to me, expect great things, see great things, feel great things, feel great love. Treat those that you love and strangers as you would wish to be treated. You can't go far wrong. Silver Birch, a great guide from Spirit, has said that if you help one person truly in life, then your life has been worthwhile. And, you know, we've got such a great capacity to love, such a great capacity to do good. It's a little bit like, what's that saying? You know, it takes many more muscles to frown than it does to smile. And if we approach life in that way and understand it's so much effort and so destructive to hate and be negative, when the easy thing to do is to send out love and just be positive. Positivity, like negativity, can catch, you know, one smile to strangers and you'll get a wonderful reaction, and that's really what we need. We need a lot more love in this world. So spirits, sorry, someone's just making me laugh there. The message today from Spirit is to love yourself, to love others. If you wish to see good and you wish to see compassion, be good, be compassionate, expect it. It will happen for you. Fantastic. If you found the show interesting or you've joined halfway through, you can go to KCOR Radio. So it's www.kcorradio.com. You can find the archives of this show. There are many wonderful shows on this radio station. Do investigate them. Do join in. And if you want to, do make a donation to this show. But if you are love, which we are, and you give love, you will receive love. Fantastic. Join us next week. I can't remember who's on. Let me just have a quick look. We've got a medium called Cheryl Perkins on next week. Lovely lady, lovely medium, and so she'll be on, and we'll be back at the same time. So if you've enjoyed it, take our great love, and be good to each other out there. So fantastic. We'll see you next week. God bless.
You've been listening to Leo Bonomo, the host of The Voice of Spirit. Live every Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. For more information on the show, guests, and host of The Voice of Spirit, or to book a private reading, please visit leo-bonomo.com. That's leo-bonomo.com. Your connection to the other side is just a phone call away. The Voice of Spirit.
It is amazing, is it not?
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51. Wait, that doesn't exist. This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.